Hey everyone, welcome to this month's episode of Winephabet Street. Today, the letter of the day is H, and it stands for Horse Heaven Hills, which is an AVA in Washington State. You may be familiar with them since Columbia Crest and Chateau Ste. Michelle produce wines from this region, but there are a lot other smaller wineries producing great wines from this AVA. Before we get started, I just want to thank everyone who has voted for me in the Millesima Blog Awards. If you haven't voted, can I please ask you to please vote for me. The polls are open through Monday, January 29th, and the link is on the podcast webpage. So please head over there or to our Facebook page and vote for Dracaena wines and help send me to Bordeaux, the home of Cabernet Franc. If you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, please do so, and please leave us a review so that we know how we are doing. Is there a specific wine, grape, varietal, or wine region you'd like us to explore? Just let us know. Sláinte. Welcome to Dracaena Wines Podcast. Our wines plus your moments equals great memories. I'm your host, Lori, and this is a podcast about all things wine. Hi.
Hello.
Happy Monday.
Yes, and it's a good Monday for you.
It is an outstanding Monday for me.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Big congratulations are in order.
If there is anything higher than Cloud 9, I am there. I mean, I was on Cloud 9 above for the double gold for our 2015 Cab Franc, and I did a major happy dance. I screamed, I shouted. There's a gif of some girl like going crazy, and I like, this was me. So to get a double gold in the San Francisco Chronicle is, I can't even, words cannot describe. And then this morning to be nominated for the Blog Awards, where if I win, I'm a finalist, final of 3, if I win, I go to Bordeaux.
That's awesome.
I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it. And then, to even top it off, on top of that, we are in our first restaurant in New Jersey. We are in Spuntino's, and that is in Clifton. And so we have now broken into New Jersey in restaurants.
Awesome.
So
Congratulations.
I don't know. Allison Wallace said I should go out and buy a lottery ticket.
Should.
I am so ecstatic. I can't even say anything. So we are going to see if I can actually do this. You know, it's H. I don't know what letter we're in, what number that is, but let's see if I can actually do this for the first time. Probably not.
Yes, I think we can.
So the letter of the day today is H, and it stands for
Horse Heaven Hills. It's an AVA in the state of Washington.
It is, and there's some seriously fine wine coming out of this AVA. Big time fine wine coming out of this HVA.
Yeah.
AVA.
So shall we get going and start?
Yeah, so
who are you?
I am Lori Budd, and I am the owner, along with my husband, Michael, of Dracaena Wines, and we produce a Cabernet Franc, now a double gold winning Cabernet Franc, in Paso Robles, California, and we are releasing our first rosé in March. In fact, we are bottling in about 14 days. So we'll be releasing that soon, and that will be a rosé of Syrah. And I am all over social media with the @Dracaena Wines. And we have a podcast in addition to this Winephabet Street. And
Yes,
you are?
Lori. I am Debbie Giaquindo. I am the Hudson Valley Wine Goddess. I'm a wine blogger, wine writer. I'm the author of Tapping the Hudson Valley. It's day trips and weekend itineraries visiting all the craft beverage producers in the Hudson Valley and the sites along the way, with recommendations for lodging and restaurants and farmers markets and sightseeing to do as well. And I'm also co-owner of Happy Bitch Wines. And I think that's it.
It is a lot.
Yes, soon a restaurant, but
and soon a restaurant. Yes. So we are discussing Horse Heaven Hills today, and you're going to start it off with general characteristics, correct?
So Horse Heaven Hills is located in south central Washington along the Washington-Oregon border. To the north, you have the Yakima Valley, and to the south, you have the Columbia River. And I don't know if you can even see my mouse.
Kinda, sorta.
Can you see my mouse?
Your mouse?
No, I guess you can't.
No.
I can only see my mouse. Okay. Horse Heaven Hills produces 25% of the wine in Washington, with 2/3 of the region producing reds and 1/3 of the region producing whites. So Horse Heaven Hills consists of 570,000 acres, ranging from 200 feet above sea level along the Columbia River to 1,800 feet above sea level at the northern boundary. The hills are geological folds in the Earth's crust, which is why it's very windy there. It's kind of like desert area there.
Mm-hmm.
It's consistent. The consistent winds lower the risk of disease pressure and stress the vines to give them good vigor. So vines like to be stretched and dig and dig and dig and dig for water, and that's actually good for them. And this is what leads to flavored grapes with good structure and balance of sugar and acids. The soil is quick draining, loess, silty loam that was deposited there 15,000 years ago during the Missoula floods. And it sits upon a top of basalt base, which is volcanic rock, as a result of the lava flows from many, many millions of years ago. And the nutrition-poor soils, which vines like, and the free-draining soils produce wines with distinctive mineral nuances that define the characteristics of the wines from the region, along with their subtle texture. And the winds toughen the skins on the grapes so that they provide soft fruit tannins and a feeling of velvety quality on the palate. So I can't wait to taste mine to see if all that is true, because this is going to be the first Horse Heaven wine that I taste.
Really? You have not had a Columbia crest?
I have not had a Horse Heaven's wine.
Holy cow!
Yeah, I told you Washington State is not a state I am familiar with.
Wow, so I've had Horse Heaven Hills, but it's always been Columbia crest. I mean, they own everything. So that's the only one I've had. So I went all over the place to try to find a non-Columbia crest. But I also wanted to say, look who showed up!
There's our mascot!
There he is! He's here and he's excited to learn about Horse Heaven Hills. Yes, he is. Let's see. So I am going to talk about the history. And there we go. Okay, so the history, this was so different, I guess, for me, because it was we're doing a region versus an actual grape varietal. So, and I am so not a history person. If my high school history teacher, knew this, she would keel over because I paid zero attention in high school. And I will admit that I actually got kicked out of one of my college history classes, because I was so bored and so hyper, and boredom and hyper do not go well together. So I was kicked out, and I had to like come back and apologize and swear that I would never be so bouncy in class again. But yeah, so here we go. Horse Heaven Hills history. The AVA was actually established in 2005. So in terms of AVAs, it's kind of on the young side. It is older than Paso Robles, our sub-AVAs, but it is rather young. And it is part of the larger Columbia Valley AVA. So that is similar to like our Paso Robles. We have, the Paso Robles AVA, and then we have the, like for us, we're in the Estrella district of the Paso Robles AVA. The elevations range from anywhere between 200 feet above sea level up through 1,800 feet above sea level. So that's going to give you a lot of variation, which means that the grapes that come from this region are also going to have a lot of varying characteristics, as well as allowing for different varietals to be grown there. The grapes planted in the south-facing slopes of the Horse Heaven Hills benefit, like you said, from those strong winds that arrive west of the Columbia Gorge. And the great thing about it is that it actually lowers the likelihood of rot and fungal disease. So that wind is very helpful, which is where, any AVA that's got those winds are going to be have that benefit. So I actually did remember a little bit about Lewis and Clark. Well, I remembered the names, Lewis and Clark. I'm not going to lie. And they are actually pretty important to the Horse Heaven Hills AVA. See, if they talked about that in high school and college, I might have paid more attention. So on October 16th in 1805, Lewis and Clark and the Corps of Discovery arrived at the junction of the Snake River, where the Columbia River had laid eyes on those hills. And according to Clark's notes, I'm reading this specifically what he said, river-wide country on each side low, a range of hills on the west immediately in front of the opposite side of Columbia. In every direction from the junction of those rivers, the country is one continued plain, low, and rises from the water gradually, except a range of high country which runs from southwest to northeast and is on the opposite side, about 2 miles distance from the Columbia, and keeping its direction southwest until it joins a southwest range of mountains. The range of the high country is what he was describing is actually right now what we call Horse Heaven Hills. So, and the southwest range of the mountains is the Blue Mountains of Oregon and Idaho. So Lewis and Clark, their 1805 was actually right there. Where they camped out was right there at the junction of the Snake River and the Columbia River. And it is that location that is now Washington's Sacajawea State Park. I love that name, Sacajawea.
I went to a camp, Sacajawea, Girl Scout camp.
Did you
in
really?
Wayndale, New York. Yeah. I think it's condos now, but yeah.
I just love that name. I love it, Sacajawea. If I ever had a daughter, yes, Sacajawea is going to be her name. Okay, so ta-da! Aren't they beautiful? Oh my God, I adore horses. I rode them all growing up. I actually even was in a couple of rodeos. My summer job was taking people out on trail rides. So anything to do with horses, I'm all over it. And wild horses, they're just magnificent. But there's kind of a sad story about them with the Horse Heaven Hills AVA. So for 2 centuries, the Columbia Plateau was actually home to the wild horses, and they played a significant role in the transformation of what is now this area of Washington. So most of the horses that were free had either escaped or were released from a couple hundred years ago from Indian tribes. So they've been there for a really, really long time. There's numerous accounts that there were horses all over the area. So all the explorers that went through this area all noted in their, dialogues or diaries of these wild horses everywhere. In fact, going back to Lewis and Clark, they wrote in their journals that there are herds of wild horses here. And in 1867, James Gordon Kenny, who was one of the earliest settlers of the area, said, "This is surely a horse heaven." And he is the person who termed the name, and that is where they got the title Horse Heaven Hills for that AVA. So we can thank James Gordon Kenny for that. The sad part is that during the 1920s, the horses had little or no value. So during those difficult times, people started to turn their horses loose rather than kill them, but then it kind of got out of control, and kind of like the deer population in New Jersey, it got bigger and bigger, and people started, instead of appreciating their beauty and their majesty and their wildness, they decided that these horses were a nuisance. So they started considering them to be a pest, and the wild horses started eating the food that the people who were living there, were planting, and so they decided to start get rid of them. So in 1939, Time magazine reported that there were, and I hate this statistic, that they have killed 350,000 horses.
Whoa!
Yes. I was literally crying when I was reading about this information. So in 1939, Time magazine reported that they had killed 350,000 horses in the area, and they were shipped overseas for meat.
That's disgusting.
So
that is gross.
Yep. So for all these horses that were there, that had all of these, like, so much time to build up their population, humans came in and in a matter of like 30 years destroyed them. So there were a few horses there in the 40s and 50s, but they were still considered a nuisance, and people were hitting them with cars, like, I guess, like elk, and like we hit deer. And in the 1960s to the 1970s, our wonderful government gave the order to get rid of the horses.
What?
And in less than 3 decades, they were gone. So now, the horses that originally roamed the land, all of that land is now covered in wheat farms, vineyards, vegetable farms, and rows of wind machines. So I'm happy for the vineyards and I'm happy for the wine, but I was blown away by the history of the AVA. It just, I could not believe it. It's so sad. It's so sad. This is a picture of the actual oldest block in Horse Heaven Hills, and it is from 1972. It was planted by Don and Linda Mercer, and they were the first ones after being encouraged by the Washington wine industry, Walter Clore.
Look what I got.
No way, really?
That's the wine I got, yeah.
Sweet!
That's the wine. Yeah, I've got 3 bottles of it. I didn't realize that I had it when we started this, and when I was doing my new wine setup, I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about these. I have 3 Mercer wines, Sharp Sisters Red Blend, a Malbec, and a Sauvignon Blanc.
Hey, gotta love it when a plan comes together, right?
Oh my God, this plan comes together really well. Right? And we don't even talk before we even do this.
We do not. We purposely don't want to know what the other person is drinking, what the other person has. But that is amazing. So that is the picture of the block. And as I said, it was named because James Kinney declared it is sure a horse heaven. And unfortunately, people did not agree to that completely, and now it is vineyards. But I am kind of happy there's vineyards there. But that is the story, the history.
How it became.
Yes, look, even Elmo is sad at the story.
Yeah.
But so that is the history. So
What?
I just was saying I am sorry. I saw Paige typed that she's going to have to switch to something stronger, Scotch. I'm sorry.
I need a drink now with that.
Yeah, I know. Sorry to be a downer. I was really hoping there'd be a lot better history, a lot happier history of it, but it is what it is. So yes, I need to drink.
Pour it out?
Yeah.
Those of you who don't know, we made a pact last episode to pour, not to have any of the wine before we start the episode. So I'm pouring my Double Canyon wine.
So
Cabernet
we definitely
Sauvignon.
know we don't have the same because mine's white. So mine is also a little too cold. It's tough to get to room temperature or warm it up. I took it out an hour and 10 minutes ago, and it's still cool. Yeah. Well, it's freaking cold here.
It's cold where I am too. Ooh, nice nose.
Mm-hmm.
Leathery cassis.
Mm. So Paige and Karen, I hope you are sipping along with us right now. I have such butterscotch. Holy camole. Huge butterscotch.
Black fruit. Black cherry. You can taste a little of the minerality in it. This is really nice. I wish I was sipping since we started, Paige. This is my first sip of the day. I had to wait till 8:25.
I know, my first sip of the day, too. So mine is that butterscotch, and I've got definite honeysuckle. And, you know, when you bake the apple, with brown sugar?
Oh,
Is that
like
a brulee?
creme brulee.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's what this is. Oh, woo. Okay. So I'm going to show you what I have.
Paige wants to know what you're drinking.
Oh, she's psychic. This is what I am drinking. So it is the Expedition from Canoe Ridge Vineyards. Okay. And I went to 3 stores, and the only Horse Heaven Hills they had was Columbia Crest. And I adore Columbia Crest. They're one of my go-to wines, but I didn't want to do Columbia Crest for this. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm going with Columbia Crest because that's all I could get. Then I went to a different store, and I found this. And I was so excited that they had this. And I kind of like the label. It's kind of cool label. I was so excited. And then when I was doing the research on the winery, I was like, Jesus, it's Columbia Crest. I was so annoyed. I was like, no. I went out, but luckily it is not Columbia Crest, but Columbia Crest actually has a vineyard designated wine that comes from Canoe Ridge Vineyard. So Columbia Crest sources fruit from Canoe Ridge Vineyard. So I was very annoyed, and then I got very happy after that. So that is what is in my glass. And
I have Double Canyon.
Okay, nice.
Horse Heaven Hills. Cabernet Sauvignon. And I sent my husband in to see Paige to buy this.
Thank you, Paige.
I didn't want a Columbia Crest, and that's all I could find where I am in South Jersey, so I wasn't heading up to the Hudson Valley, but he was, so I said, you need to go see Paige. So he went and saw Paige.
So I have to say, and I'm, for myself anyway, and I think that Debbie is the same, we're not saying anything wrong about Columbia Crest.
No. They're just the big guys, and we kind of like the small people.
Right. Like I said, I drink a lot of Columbia Crest. Chateau Ste. Michelle, it falls under that same umbrella. They make a sparkling, that
really
is
good, reasonably priced sparkling.
Yes, $13. I mean,
really good.
I can savor that baby every day of the week. So it's not that we don't want to purchase, Columbia Crest. It's not that there's anything wrong with Columbia Crest. It's just that this series, we try to promote the smaller guys, and we're trying to help look for more options. Everybody can go in and find a Columbia Crest, but the people who are listening to this and the people who are going to watch it or listen to the podcast, we're just trying to give you more larger perspective of what is out there for you. Do you agree?
And there are smaller wineries. A lot of times the bigger wineries, conglomerates, they're fine. They produce some really fantastic wines, but you got the small people that produce really good wines too that get overshadowed, or when you go into a liquor store to purchase something, you might purchase a wine because you know the name because it's of a large conglomerate, when there might be a smaller label right next to it that is just as good, but they're just the little guy. So
correct. So all for the little guys.
Yeah.
Yes. So do you want to go first?
Tell Lori what the price point is for your Chardonnay.
I bought it at Total Wine, and it was $14, $13.99.
Okay. I think mine was $22 from the charge card bill I had to go look up because my husband doesn't keep receipts. Is that right, Paige?
Or Paul just bought the wine and some candy and so.
All I saw was like,
$23
and change.
Right.
$23. Okay.
Right. So, not too costly, either of them.
This I'm really liking. It's not like a California Cab, which is tannic. This got a 92 in Wine Spectator and a 91 in Wine Enthusiast.
Oh, wow.
Double Canyon is part of the Crimson Group. So I was kind of like a little like, oh my gosh, this is part of a big conglomerate. But actually, it's a small conglomerate. Mm-hmm. They have a total of 9 properties. Pine Ridge in Napa is one of their properties.
Okay. Pine Ridge. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry. Pine Ridge, Viognier, Chenin Blanc. Have you ever had? Oh my God.
Yes, I've been there. Yes, I've had it. Yeah.
That is awesome. That is an awesome wine. Paige, do you carry that? Because that is an awesome, awesome wine, and that is dirt cheap and such a good wine. That's the wine that, like, when people come over, we start with that all the time because they're always impressed, and I don't go broke.
So they also own Sacajawea.
Oh,
pronounced
yep,
right.
Sacajawea.
I think that's in Sonoma.
Yep. Yeah.
So they own like a bunch of little small, and they own a tasting room up there somewhere that probably has their other smaller brands. So it was Double Canyon was founded in 2007. And their focus has always been crafting exceptional Washington Cab from their Double Canyon vineyard site. So in Horse Heaven Hills. Now, I was looking for like some history, like if there was a family history and stuff. And so I contacted the winery, and they actually, they were great. They responded to me. But there really is no like family history and stuff. I think that the area was producing grapes from their Double Canyon vineyard, and they decided to produce their own label, and they hired a vineyard manager who actually grew up across the street at the Mercer Farms. Mercer's a big name down there.
They are, yes.
Yeah, his name is Will Bate. I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Will-I-am? Sorry.
And so he grew up on working the Mercer ranches, and so he now is the vineyard manager at Double Canyon. And they just built a brand new winemaking facility in West Richland, Washington, that opened just before harvest, so it was good timing for them. Now their production capacity will begin now at 50,000 cases, and they have room to grow. That's a lot of wine. A lot of wine.
It is, but they're actually still classified as a mid-sized winery.
Yeah, it's really a state-of-the-art facility. It looked really nice. Double Canyon itself is 90 acres, estate vines located in the heart of Horse Heaven Hills, 6 miles from the Columbia River. It sits on the wheat crop circle, which is what preceded the grapevine. So there was all this wheat, and I guess there was an area, and it was in a circle that.
Did the aliens land there?
They did. They did. It burnt out the wheat, and they planted vines.
Wine drinking aliens. Woohoo!
Yeah. Hey, we went on the ghost tour, right?
Yes.
So, hey.
Ghosts, aliens, I'm all for it.
So the vineyards are planted pretty densely together, 1,850 vines per acre, which is kind of a lot. But they want to crowd the space and achieve less fruit per plant. Okay. Because they believe that producing less fruit increases the overall quality of the plant's resources, and that is concentrated in fewer clusters.
Well, there's depending on the rootstock that's in there,
right.
That has. So when you do the root science and you do the soil studies of what you have, there's different. The clones that you're putting in, or the rootstock that you're putting in likes different things. So I'm guessing they did a soil analysis, and that's awesome. I love science.
Yeah. So Bill, he's the GM and the wine grower since the beginning, since 2007. And what they have planted is Cabernet Sauvignon, Malbec, Petit Bordeaux, Merlot, Syrah, and Cab Franc.
Yay!
You'll have to get them on your Cab Franc day.
Yes.
So their winemaker is a woman winemaker.
Woohoo!
Named Michaud. And she
what is
got
her
bit
name?
by the Kate Michaud.
Oh.
Michaud.
Okay, I missed the
and
Kate.
She got bit by the wine bug after college. She likes skiing, so she was sporting. I'm a skier. She's a boarder. So she was working odd jobs and boarding in Colorado, and she got bit by the wine bug. And her first job was a cellarette at Bonnie Doon. And then she traveled through Western Australia, and then was the assistant enologist for David Bruce Winery in Santa Cruz. And then she went on to be the assistant winemaker at Canoe Ridge Vineyards in Walla Walla. And from there, she went down under to Kim Crawford in New Zealand to learn about cold fermentation. And when she returned, she joined Covey Run. And in 2000, she's new. She just accepted this last year, accepted the position of winemaker at Double Canyon. So, my Double Canyon Cabernet Sauvignon is 78% Cabernet Sauvignon. Oh, and it was established in 2005, the vineyard. So it's a blend of 78% Cab Sav, 12% Syrah, 5% Petit Bordeaux, 3% Merlot, 2% Malbec. It's 14.2% alcohol, which it's really, I've had hot wines before, and it doesn't come across as much alcohol as it actually is. It spent 14 months in oak, 19% in new French oak, 8% in new American oak. 10,300 cases of this wine was made, and it was released in March 2016.
Wow.
So, I said that, so the majority of the grapes in here come from Double Canyon Vineyards. Some come from Finney Hill, Champoy, and Destiny Ridge Vineyards. And Finney Hill is directly across the street and is owned by the family of Will. Will's family owns it.
Okay. So do you know if all of those vineyards are within Horse Heaven? Because
I believe they are. Yes, I believe they are. Yes, they are.
They all don't have to be to have it on the label. It could be 85%.
Yeah, but no, they are, because when I was doing my research, I was fascinated by the region, and I got into all the different vineyards and stuff.
Yeah, I have to admit, it was kind of cool to do the research, because I knew nothing of the area, so everything was new and everything was like, oh wow, check that out, check that out. So my Chardonnay is very happily not a Butterbomb, because I can't deal with that anymore. My vintage is a 2015, and it is 100% Chardonnay. And it is, like, the color is, it's got a little, it's amber with a little brownish hue. I don't know if brown's the right color, but it's a darker, it's not a straw color. It's golden green, I guess. And it is all from Horse Heaven Hills. The alcohol is 14. They were very specific, 14.32. We don't get that specific on our bottles. In oak, it's been 50% in barrel fermented, so that's why it's not so much. I can't talk today. 50% barrel fermented. It's a heavier Chardonnay. It's not light. There's some body to this. And I was enjoying seeing that it's actually 3/4 American oak and only 1/4 French oak. So it doesn't have all of that bam in your face. Paige is laughing at my Butterbomb. And it doesn't have, and it's only 1/4 French oak. So it is not oak in your face Chardonnay, which is what I prefer. Canoe Ridge Vineyard is one of Washington State's most recognized wineries, with its namesake vineyard established in 1989. So what year was yours? Do you remember?
I think it's 2005.
2005?
Yeah, I think that's what I said.
So much
when it was established.
Right. So this is an old vineyard site. Varieties are focused Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, and Chardonnay. The name comes from the ridge by the vineyard located along the mid-Columbia River near the town of Patterson, and the famed explorers Lewis and Clark are involved in naming this area and apparently spent some time at this vineyard when it wasn't a vineyard. Okay. So the reason why they called it Canoe River is from the river, the adventurers thought that the ridge itself resembled an overturned canoe. So I guess it had a point, whatever. They were probably already drinking, so whatever. But yes. So that is where the name came from. It looks like an overturned canoe. So a little bit about the history. In 1989, a group of Washington farmers and businessmen partnered up with Sandpiper Farms, and they planted 44 acres of Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot. And then the Canoe Ridge Vineyard and their respective wineries. So this is a kind of a conglomerate also. Bergevin Lane, Pepper Bridge, Woodward Canyon. I've heard of Woodward Canyon. And Renninger, and then Hogue Cellars.
I've heard of Hogue.
Yeah. In 1990, 52 Washington shareholders forged a Canoe Ridge Vineyard partnership with Chalone. So that's, in Napa. So
yeah,
know about them. Okay. 1994, Canoe Ridge Vineyard opens its trolley house in Walla Walla. And John Abbott, who was at that point working at Chalone, is appointed the winemaker, so he relocated. 2001, Chalone buys out the shareholders and has the entire control over Canoe Ridge and expands. 2005 is when the Horse Heaven Hills becomes the AVA. 2011, Precept Wine. Ever hear of them? Nope. Precept Wine acquires Canoe Ridge Vineyard from Diageo and the winemaker Bill Murray. I'm sure it's a different Bill Murray, but
it is, because the Bill Murray I know owns a vodka with Peter Kelly called Slovenia.
Okay.
So the Bill Murray we all know.
Yeah.
Peter Kelly, it owns a vodka with Peter Kelly, who I know, who is a restaurateur in the Hudson Valley.
Oh.
and Slovenia vodka, which is really good vodka.
Okay. All I saw was Bill Murray, and all I kept thinking, it's a Cinderella story. So, and then in 2014, Canoe Ridge Vineyard Estate Vineyard actually celebrated its 25th anniversary. So, of its first plantings. So it is like the first winery. So I was pretty happy I ended up coming across this.
You got a good one.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so I'm going to move on to food pairings.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, I'm not going to lie, this was probably the most difficult concept to do because we're talking about a region and not an actual winery, not an actual wine. So what I opted to do was I picked several wineries and picked a wine from those wineries and gave a suggested pairing with that. I thought that would be the most productive way or most interesting way to approach this. Because how can you give a wine pairing to an AVA? Right? You can't do that because there's so many varietals. So that was my thought process here. So food pairings. My first one was the 2014 H3, so that is Columbia Crest. Not one you're going to find on many shelves. I went with a more special one. So that is the lay, and I have absolutely no idea how to say that word, Chevaux red wine. And that their recommendation for that is a lamb and winter vegetable stew. They recommended lamb. I found this recipe, which I thought would, by the tasting notes, I thought that would go nicely with it. A hearty stew made with winter vegetables, so I thought that would be a great pairing for that. The next suggestion is from Andrew Hill Winery, and they make a Sorella. And I thought a great pairing for that would be a port wine braised beef short ribs. And
that looks really good.
Doesn't it? Well, I'm not going to lie. Yeah. I don't eat that.
Good with my cab too right now.
Ah, it would. I mean, I don't eat that, but that is one pretty picture. But so Sorella is a cab-based blend. So it would go with your wine. Mm-hmm. Okay. Next up is Chateau Saint Michel, Horse Heaven Hills Sauvignon Blanc, and that is Asian glazed Copper River salmon, another dish that I would not eat. But Sauvignon Blanc, salmon, that is the perfect, they go hand in hand. That's like a marriage made in heaven right there. And we have the 2014 Kilsada Creek Pelingot proprietary red blend and cherry tomato food.
Is that a dessert?
That I think it is. The alcohol content, I did look it up. It was a little high on the alcohol content, but it is it's basically a tomato pie. And I had made you take a pie shell and you put tomatoes in there, and then you put I'm not going to lie, I don't remember if bell pepper's in there, but you put a Zinfandel in it, and then you bake it, and this reminded me of that. So yeah, I don't know, but that looks kick-ass to me. That I would eat.
Yeah.
That I would eat. And then, woohoo, my Expedition Chardonnay Canoe Ridge Dijon Tarragon chicken. That's got the best shot of me eating that. But the tomatoes, and I believe that's cucumbers, which I'm not so sure about. But the tarragon chicken totally would go with this. And in fact, last night I made, I actually made dinner last night, didn't pop it in a microwave. I made a chicken saltimbocca. And
it looked good.
Yeah, thank you. And that would be amazing with this. Now I had it with a Pinot, but that would have gone nicely with it also. So that is my food pairings, and a little tough to do with an AVA. So I was a little upset. I was like, oh, lucky you. You didn't have to do food pairings.
That's a good idea, though, to do, moving forward when we do a region instead of a wine.
Yeah, thank you.
Do that. No, that is a great idea.
Mama approves. Okay.
I'm really digging this.
That's good. This is really, it is nice. It's nice. I don't think I would go out and go buy the case of it like you were saying. We are up to 5 fast facts.
The sun shines on the vineyards 300 days a year.
Oh, God, I could go for that right now.
Yeah, incredible amount of sunshine. Horse Heaven Hills is 50 miles long and 20 miles wide. So this winery, Quilceda Creek, their 2002, 3, 5, 7, and 14 were all rated 100 points by Robert Parker.
Holy casmole.
Yeah. But the 2014 Cedar Creek Cabernet Sauvignon they sourced the majority of the cab from the Walloop Gap.
Okay.
And that wine was the first 100-point wine sourced exclusively from Horse Heaven Hills AVA, where the 03, 02, 03, 05, 07 included small amounts of cab from Red Mountain. The Champounet, Champaux. I'm really bad with French, and I know that's a French pronunciation. Champaux vineyard is the most notable vineyard in the region that was purchased from land from the Mercer family. There's that Mercer family.
They are it, man.
Land from the Mercer family, and it was used in the 2014 Quilceda Creek cab along with grapes from Palangon Vineyard. You just had their something or other in the food pairings.
Yes. So they are like Eberle of Paso Robles. Like Eberle is the he's the godfather of Paso.
Yeah, and Horse Heaven Hills has more vineyards than tasting rooms. They're really more of a growing region than they are somewhere where you're gonna go tasting. And Horse Heaven Hills takes its name from James Gordon Kinney, an early pioneer who said upon seeing the region and its wide prairies, surely this is Horse Heaven.
I kind of wish it still was. I'm glad there's vineyards, but...
I know. Don't get me going on that. That's just, Oh, that 100 points is... I actually was on the website. It was way out of my price range. It was like over $100. It was like all that... all the wines that won the 100 points from Quilceda Creek. And you have to go into a lottery to get it.
Oh, well, you know what? Once they get 100 points, you're not getting anywhere near it. So I've told this story and I've written the blog post 50,000 times about Cayuse in Walla Walla.
Right.
And how we just happened to step in and, meet Christoph and taste the wines, and we bought the wines and got on his wine list, and then we got home and literally the week later he got the 99, and now there's a 10-year wait list to be on his wine club. Once they get that score, you're not getting in.
Yeah, is that going to happen to you?
Yes! How did you know?
We better get on your list.
Woohoo! Oh, yeah, could be someday. Don't know. It's really tough to get into Wine Spectator. I'm not going to lie. It's tough to get into Wine Spectator. You have to submit and beg and plead to get in there.
But, you can submit your wines to Spectator.
Yeah, but you actually can't. You have to submit a request, and then they decide whether they will accept your request or not. Where like Wine Enthusiast, you can submit. So like we got a 91, we got a 90, you can submit and they'll taste it. They won't guarantee that it will be in the magazine, but they taste it and they'll send you an email.
Right.
With Wine Spectator, you have to send them a request, and then they check you out and tell you whether or not they will taste you.
Gotcha.
So we actually just submitted our request to Wine Spectator. But it's really tough because they want 500 cases of it, of the wine, and we're not there, and I don't like to lie, so,
Yeah.
But who knows?
It'll catch.
They can come back.
Yeah.
They can come back.
So should we talk about
Karen?
Next month?
Karen just told me congratulations on my double gold.
Oh.
Thank you, Karen. We are pretty darn ecstatic over that. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm pretty proud of you guys.
Thank you.
Great.
I'm pretty proud too.
Cheers.
Oh,
We never did toast.
Sláinte.
You guys all have your glasses out. Let's cheers.
Cheers,
Lori.
cheers. Sláinte. We have, we've got a 91 and a 90 in Wine Enthusiast, so we like Wine Enthusiast.
Yeah. Should we talk about next month?
We should.
Next month we go to another wine region.
Yeah, go ahead. Try to pronounce that because I have no idea how to do that.
It's going to be Monday, February 19th. IATA Valley.
Itata? Itata?
It's a wine region in Chile.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not Italy like I originally thought.
Yeah. And I'm like, what is IATA Valley?
I'm not gonna lie. We got this, we got that region thanks to Nick, Winecom guy, and he suggested it to us while we were out in the Wine Bloggers Conference, and there might have been a wee bit of alcohol in me at the time that he suggested it.
But hey,
I'm not even gonna lie.
Why didn't you get him to do J too? We struggled for that.
We did struggle for Jay. I'm not gonna lie. I was gonna say I can't believe I actually remembered it, but I didn't. I had to send him a text afterwards. So I sent him a text. So yes. So he gave us eyes. So shout outs to Nick and Winecom guy. Thank you very, very much. My Fresno buddy. I love you.
So I think that's about it.
That is it. And thank you, Paige and Karen, for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. And if anybody wants this double canyon, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to go see Paige at Boutique Wines and Spirits in Fishkill, New York. It's out, it's by the Walmart plaza right in there. Go in there. And you want to pick it up because it's $65 on the website and it's only $23 in her store.
That is amazing. That is amazing.
Yes.
91 doesn't suck. Thank you, Paige.
And thank you, Karen, so much for stopping by. And we will see you February 19th.
Thank you.
See you next month, Paige.
Bye.
All right, guys.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Dracaena Wines podcast. If you have suggestions of what topics you would like us to discuss, please reach out to us on social media or at dracaenawines@gmail.com. If you liked our podcast, please subscribe at iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or whichever podcasting program you use. To easily subscribe at iTunes, please go to bit.ly/Dracaena podcast. That's bit.ly/D for Dracaena and capital P for podcast. We would greatly appreciate you leaving a review on your favorite system. It helps others to find us. Let's get social. Find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Pinterest, YouTube, Google+, and Periscope at Dracaena Wines. And I am on LinkedIn as Lori Hoyt Budd. Check out our award-winning wine at dracaenawines.com. And remember to always pursue your passion. Sláinte.